Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at something pretty crucial, I think, especially in today's world, and that's the role of the Book of Mormon. We're going to be drawing on a recent talk that really resonated with me called "It is Wisdom in the Lord That We Should Have the Book of Mormon" by President Mark L. Pace from back in April's General Conference.
Yeah, it's not just another book report. You know what I mean? President Pace really emphasizes how vital the Book of Mormon is for us today.
Definitely. And he starts right off the bat talking about this concept of dispensations. Have you heard that term before?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Think of dispensations kind of like different periods in history where God reveals his gospel through prophets, like chapters in this big story of us trying to connect with God. We see it throughout history, right? Like the time of Moses or Abraham. Those are all different dispensations.
Okay, that makes sense. So how does the Book of Mormon fit into all of this, especially now?
Well, President Pace points out that sadly, a lot of those past dispensations ended in general apostasy, where basically the truths that God had revealed ended up getting lost or changed over time. And this is what I think is so interesting. He says that this dispensation that we're in now, what we call the dispensation of the fullness of times, won't end the same way. It won't end in everyone falling away.
Wow. So we're living in a time where we actually have the full gospel. That's amazing. But if that's the case, why is there such an emphasis on the Book of Mormon?
That's the thing. Even though we won't see everyone fall away, President Pace warns about what he calls personal apostasy. It's like, even though the truth is out there, each of us can still make choices that lead us away from it.
So the Book of Mormon is kind of like our anchor then. Something to help keep our faith strong when life gets tough.
Exactly. It's that personal guide, a testament of Jesus Christ that we can always come back to find strength, get direction, and just feel that connection with God.
You know what really struck me about this talk? It's how President Pace goes beyond just saying, read the Book of Mormon. It's more about really connecting with God through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's not just another thing to check off your to-do list.
Right. It's about actually building that relationship with God.
Exactly. It's easy to fall into the trap of treating scripture study like it's schoolwork, memorizing facts and verses. But President Pace reminds us that the real power comes when we open our hearts to what God is trying to tell us personally.
Yes. Creating that space for revelation, like when you're reading and a certain verse just seems to jump out at you. It's like it was written just for you in that moment.
Totally. And it seems to happen when we need it most.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me of something President Pace shared recently about how he was wrestling with a really tough decision and feeling completely overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah. What did he do?
He turned to the Book of Mormon, looking for comfort and guidance. And he talks about this feeling of peace just washing over him as he read, like God was reassuring him that everything would be okay.
Wow, that gives me chills. It's like having this direct line to God's wisdom. And it really makes you think about how much strength and guidance we could find in our own lives through the Book of Mormon.
Absolutely. Whether we're going through trials, dealing with confusion, or just want to feel closer to God, the Book of Mormon can help us get there. And that reminds me of the story President Pace shares about his own childhood.
Oh, you mean the one where his mom prompted him to pray about the Book of Mormon?
Yes. It's such a simple story, but so powerful. It shows that it doesn't matter how old you are or where you are in your spiritual path. We can all have these powerful experiences with the Book of Mormon if we're open to it.
I love how his mother didn't pressure him or anything. She just encouraged him to read and pray for himself.
Exactly. It was an invitation to discover, not a demand to believe.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important for any of us looking to grow spiritually. What would it take for you to approach the Book of Mormon with that same openness?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because President Pace's experience wasn't just a one-time thing. He actually ties it back to those dispensations we were talking about earlier.
Oh, wow. How so?
He connects it with Lehi calling out to his family from the tree of life in the Book of Mormon. Like it's all part of this pattern.
I never thought about it like that.
It's this beautiful theme of God reaching out to his children, inviting them to come and learn his truth.
You're right. And it's not just a passive invitation either, is it? It's prayerfully study, ponder. President Pace really emphasizes those words. We
Yeah.
have to be active participants in this process.
It really is about putting in the effort. If we go to the Book of Mormon really wanting to learn and grow closer to God, I think the experience is just so much richer.
Yeah, it's not about having it all figured out already. It's about asking questions, being willing to learn and grow. Like President Pace was just a kid when he had that powerful experience.
That's so true. It just shows that we can have these incredible experiences with the Book of Mormon at any age. And that reminds me when we were talking about President Pace finding comfort in the Book of Mormon when he was going through that hard time. It made me think about something else he shared from President Nelson.
Oh, you mean the part about how good it is to study the scriptures every day?
Exactly. President Nelson promised that studying the Book of Mormon every day and really praying about it can help us make better decisions and to receive more revelation in our lives. That's pretty powerful, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's like spiritual growth is something we can actually work towards. It's not just this far-off idea.
Yeah.
And the Book of Mormon gives us a way to do that.
It's like having this map and compass for our lives, leading us to more peace, understanding, and that connection with God.
And really, isn't that what President Pace's whole message is about? It's about discovering the power of the Book of Mormon for ourselves. Not just taking someone's word for it, but having our own experiences.
It's like that moment when President Pace's mom asked him, Mark, do you know for yourself that the gospel is true?
Hmm.
It wasn't just about reading the words on the page, but really feeling that confirmation from God.
Such a good question. It makes you really think about your own beliefs.
It really does. So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this thought. What if we all approach the Book of Mormon with that same desire for personal revelation, like President Pace did as a child? What could we learn? What truths might be revealed to us?
No, that is something to think about.
It really is. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We see you next time.